Back as kids head back to school this week and next, families will be settling back into some routines or starting some new ones. And all these big changes can cause stress on parents and kids. We talk with Erin of Ellie Mental Health about ways to keep the anxiety at bay. I know that school's starting this week or next week for a lot of kids. What does that do to the family routine and your stress level?
I could say it messes up the entire routine and therefore increases stress, right? That's kind of a common thing for this time of year. What's interesting though is that this time of year also forces families into more structure and more routine, which actually ends up being a positive. So it's one of those things that it kind of gets worse before it gets better.
Interesting. So if you're a parent who is dreading getting into the routines and asking to do homework and all of those things, is your advice to just stick with it? What can you do to make sure that you are staying grounded?
Well, I think, consistency is key when it comes to routines, and that doesn't necessarily have to be like with time. Sleep schedule is one exception to that. Your sleep schedule should definitely be related to time. Going to bed around the same time every night and waking up around the same time every morning. But the outside of that, a lot of routine is just more about making sure that it is consistent. You can group things together to make it easier for your routines. And this applies to adults as well. I'm just even thinking of myself as an example of when I first started taking, like multivitamins or prenatal vitamins, and it was a new part of my routine. I had to think to myself, what is something I'm already doing daily that I can just group this in or lump this in with? And I brush my teeth every morning. So I take my vitamins and I brush my teeth. That goes side and side for me. Um, so little tricks like that can also be used with children, giving them choice during routine of like, okay, well, do you want the mint toothpaste or do you want the bubblegum toothpaste? So they feel like they have a little bit of sense of control of their routine, but you're still kind of guiding the routine itself.
You do have a kid who's anxious about school. How do you know when it's something that's just a little bit out of the ordinary and they'll get used to it versus it's time to call a counselor, for example?
Great question. So in the beginning, you can definitely expect to have a little bit of uncertainty or maybe a little bit of behaviors kind of look different. But in the counseling field and in the mental health world, we always look at um, activities of daily living or just things that start to disrupt kind of the normal routine of day to day. So, like, is sleep being affected consistently? Is eating? Are they overeating or under eating? So we look at appetite. We look at social kind of are they withdrawing from friends? Are they socially isolating? So things that are just kind of consistently like throughout the that they're happening both at school and at home. If it's happening in one location versus the other, sometimes it's related to something that's happening at that location that might be unsettling to them. But if it's happening across the board, that's when we know there might be something like more internal going on. And that would be a really good time to reach out for some help or assistance and how to manage that. Majority of anxiety comes from the fear of the unknown. So as much as we can prepare ahead of time can actually help mitigate that a little bit, whether that's, picking out an outfit the night before, or getting excited about something that, or maybe like another student or friend that they haven't seen in a while that they're going to see again, packing lunches together, things that kind of bring a sense of, I know what to prepare for the next day, or I know something that's going to be consistent for the next day.
Good advice. Thank you so much, Erin.